So tomorrow I leave on a road trip down to San Diego, and one of the things we needed was a bike rack. So this is our second year going down to San Diego for the spring, and I just wanted to show you guys the ASIN Sports rack that we used last year and that we're using again this year. Pretty happy. It's pretty easy to use, and it wasn't too expensive. There'll be an Amazon link down below. But this is the ASIN 532RR. I'm guessing the other ones, a lot of the parts operate similarly. It's a pretty simple, it's a little heavy when you're dragging it around. It's a great rack, and it folds down, folds out of the way of the hatchback here. Also, that might make it easier to take the bikes on and off if you're interested in that. Let me show you how to put it on the car. So we started by having a trailer hitch installed by uHaul on the back of our Subaru wagon. I was really surprised. It was kind of like schedule one day and it was ready the next day. We popped it in there, and in no time they had this mounted to the bottom of our car. It's the first step if you don't already have a trailer hitch on the bottom of your car. So I'm using a crescent wrench and a channel locks to open this up. So we're just going to grab one, and then of course you can use theoretically a couple pairs of channel locks or an open end wrench. So you can see the bolt has this little section here, and that's going to be important as we install it onto the car. So pay attention to that. So depending on the size of your trailer hitch, you may need to remove this screw and then pull off these outer plates so that you've got the smaller section ready to go in. But we're going to pop it in now. There we go. And then we need to put this in properly. Let me show you both ways. Here you can see, if you put it in this way, you can see there's about a maybe a finger width, maybe a pinky width of this bigger metal part showing. But if you put it on the other side, you can see how it's gone in even further. So you want it to go all the way in. That's the side you need to be putting the fat part on. So now we're just gonna put that end nut on there, tighten it up. So I like to use the channel locks on the side that I'm not moving around, not taking off of the nut, and the crescent wrench or open end wrench on the other side. But you can see here, now that that's fully in there, there is almost no play in there. And if you put that nut in the wrong direction, there's going to be a lot of play. So it can be locked in the down position or the up position. So if you don't have any bikes on, you might as well lock it down. But to move it up, you just pull here, pull this pin out, move it up, and then put it back in. And then lock it down. Then whichever ones you're going to need to use, you can just twist these upright. And then it's pretty simple to lock a bicycle onto it. It's probably best to start with the bikes closest to the car, and you might want to space it out if you're only carrying two bikes. One thing we did is put just a little rubber here on both sides, one where the bikes rub against the metal, and one where we always keep forgetting that this is back here when we push the automatic lift gate, and then it hits here and it goes back in, but it was starting to just maybe chip the paint. We were a little worried about that, so just put a little bit of rubber on this side and taped it down. So putting a bike on and off is pretty simple. With my wife's bike, a women's bike, it was you had to be a little bit more creative, but it's simply just putting it on and then strapping it down. And you just have to watch where the pedals go in terms of hitting your bumper. They suggest putting the derailleur out away from your bumper. The only thing I don't like here is that there's nothing set to hold your bike from moving back and forth as you go. So typically what I've done is just use some bungee cords to kind of keep the tire in place here and keep everything tight up against the rack so that there's no kind of moving around while you go. But you can see it's pretty sturdy. There's not a lot of play there in terms of what you can expect from one of these things, and been really happy. You can see how fast it goes on. It goes off just as equally fast, so when you get to your destination, you don't have to ride around with the bike rack on the back of your car. So there is a link down below if you are interested in this Allen 532RR. I'm sure the other ones are similar if they're from Allen, but we've had this for a little over a year and we've been pretty happy with it so far.